În cele ce urmează vreau să invit alături de mine o colegă care să mă ajute să gestioneze această sesiune. Este vorba de colega Cristina Bocșanean, care va desfășura interviul următor. Acum online, pentru noi, este conectată Nataša Škrbić. Nataša Škrbić este Startup Ecosystem Coordinator at the Digital Serbia Initiative. They are non-profit, non-governmental organization with the strategic goal of developing a strong, globally competitive digital economy in Serbia. They aim to create a business environment that serves the digital economy by investing in strategic programs in the areas of formal and informal education, startup ecosystem development, legal and regulatory frameworks, digital infrastructure and public dialogue on digital transformation, Serbian startup ecosystem, how it starts versus how it's going. Am să o las pe colega mea Cristina pe scenă ca să desfășoare acest interviu.
Mersi, Irina, pentru că mi-ai oferit cuvântul. Vreau și eu la rândul meu să felicit regiunile pentru primul pas de integrare într-un asemenea eveniment. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to switch to English in order to have a better connection and to understand each better with Nataša Škrbić, way back from Serbia, the Ecosystem Program Coordinator at the Initiative Digital Serbia. Hello, Nataša.
Hi, hello.
We hope you're doing well, so I guess you have a presentation, and I think you can proceed.
Well, I do not see the presentation, but we can proceed anyways.
All right, so for our first question, let us know how your ecosystem goes. Where are you at now?
Well, thank you for the question. So our ecosystem is very young, as well as Moldova's, I would say, after listening to all of this. But we can say it's very vibrant. A lot of good things are happening. Each year we have more and more startups, more successful stories, and we have new active players. So I would say right now we are at 400 startups in different stages. We had numerous funding rounds this year, a few of the acquisitions, both acquisition of our companies, but also by our companies, which is also great. Yes, we are doing a lot of things. It's very interesting, and I'd like to tell you more, but I guess you have more questions.
That would be great. So let's see.
Our latest successes, let's say, and what happened this year is that we first of all got the activity of the global VCs that were not present in Serbia before. And that is very important for such young ecosystems as ours, to get the attention of the VCs that support some of the global unicorns and very successful companies. So we had a few of those this year. And also we have a lot of stars of our ecosystem that made huge success this year. And I'm sure a lot of you who love, for example, football know about Nordius, or who is into gaming knows about Trilateral, which was acquired by Epic Games. So there are a lot of stories like that, but also we have some great success in the blockchain. So not only gaming, but also blockchain area is very interesting from the perspective of our startups. Also one of the very important things is the angel investments that we are getting lately. So before this year, we didn't have much activity in the angel investing area, but I must say this year we had a couple of them, and we are very happy to see that former founders and people who had major exits and people who have very successful careers had come back to the ecosystem and are giving back in our investing again.
What do you think were the main reasons for this success?
The success of our ecosystem is first due to a few very successful first stories we had a decade ago. So I would say that people who were working for large companies in their R&D centers, mostly engineers, but also some corporates, when they decided to start their own startup without having any support around them, as startups have today. And when they made a success, it became a story, and everyone else wanted to get involved, wanted to be part of the startup ecosystem. And that is how it all started. And then later, I think one of the key secrets to the success of the ecosystem is definitely a very strong engineering base. So we have very strong engineering talent. Kids are starting programming as early as in the 5th grade, and we have special classes in high schools and universities that are very much focused on building a great engineering talent.
How do you think, how important was actually the role of the government in this development?
We must say that when the startup ecosystem started, it all started bottom up. So the startups were the ones who made the story out of themselves. There was no a system specifically designed for startups, but some people, despite not having the system around them, built up and made these successful stories. After that, a lot of people followed with the startups. And now we have the attention of the government saying, okay, we need a better approach towards the startups. And that is why this year we have introduced the national strategy for the startup ecosystem development. And that is a document that was drafted by the industry representatives, but also by the ministries on what the government should do in the next 5 years to accelerate the development of the ecosystem. And besides that, of course, the formal education and building this engineering talent was very important, and it had to come from the ministries, right? And then the third thing is a very favorable tax environment for the startups who have a lot of incentives to do R&D here, to make new enterprises, and for the angel investors and the investors as a whole to invest in the startups.
Can you give us maybe a little bit more detail about the collaborative mechanism that exists between the Digital Serbia and the government?
Well, I wouldn't say there is a collaborative mechanism between the two organizations, but between the whole civil sector and the industry and the government. So we are trying to coordinate that. And since our members are many of the large IT companies, tech companies, and everyone who is involved in the digital sector, we have a lot of input for the government on what should be done about the digital ecosystem. And we try to communicate a lot what we see is missing and what should be improved. We work on policy papers, advocacy, and sometimes we really do have the support. We can see the things are changing, but also there are many things that we are still working on.
That's great news to hear that you're still working on. To continue, I would like to know a little bit more maybe about your plans for the future development of the ecosystem till, for example, let's say 2025.
Well, we have a lot of plans, of course, and what we see as very important in the following years is activating private capital. So for the last couple of years, we had a lot of grants, coming out from the donors, from the government, and not much private money getting into the startups. And we think now we are at this stage where we want to encourage everyone who wants to invest literally their money into the VC or a startup and to bring more VCs into the country. So what we aim to do and what will definitely be on our agenda is advocating for making mechanisms such as fund of funds, which would support creation of more VCs, but also accelerate the activity of the business angels. And then what we also aim to do is build more acceleration programs, because we were in a very early stage. We have a lot of organizations that are doing incubation phases, investment readiness, but we need more of support to support our startups or how to become global after taking on the national market or the regional market. Then also we want to work more on the information that is available to the startups. So we are building the portal and some all kinds of guidelines that will help startups understand what is their next step. And we are running our very own Business Angels group. We right now have around 30 angels in the group, and it's growing every day. More and more startups apply to get funding. So we want to build both investment ecosystem and the startup ecosystem all at once.
All right, so if you have any more details or interesting facts about, you can proceed to them. If not, we're very glad to hear you from back to Serbia.
I'm so sorry I lost you for a little.
All right, so we would like to thank you a lot for your implication and taking part into our event. All right, so thank you to Nataša Škrbić, who was part of our event. And now I'd like to welcome back my dear colleague Irina Kovriga to take the stage.